Roulette is a game that is popular all around the world. People place bets on which space the white marble will land, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. It's simply a matter of luck, because there is no way of knowing where the marble will end up. It is the result of random chance. And random chance is the topic of this video. I suppose if someone could know all the physical forces and variables involved in the operation of a roulette wheel, such as friction, wind speed, velocity, mass, and so on, maybe an accurate prediction could be made. But it is impossible to know all of those variables. There are just too many of them, so we end up calling it random chance. The prevailing opinion among scientists and in our schools and universities is that the universe is like a giant roulette wheel. The Big Bang sent enormous amounts of matter flying through space. This matter condensed into billions of galaxies, which, by the way, resemble roulette wheels in several ways. They are both spinning disks, and similar to the bouncing marble, the galaxies have large numbers of atoms bouncing around in them, thrown here and there by the various physical forces of nature. There are so many variables involved that it is impossible to predict what will happen. It is, again, a matter of random chance. According to this view, random chance is the creator of everything: galaxies, stars, planets, plants, animals, people. You, in fact, are all incredible accidents formed by random chance. But there are probably billions of people on Earth who think there is more to this life and existence than random chance and accident. I am one of those people. Surely it couldn't hurt anything or anyone to at least consider some evidence that indicates that there might be other factors at work in this universe besides unthinking, unknowing, impersonal physical forces. In this video, I intend to present some of this evidence. I would like you to consider this simple arrangement of pebbles on a riverbank near Portland, Oregon. What would your thoughts be if you happened to walk by and see it? Some people would smile and say it was cute, or they might comment on the wonder of young love. Others might barely notice it, being preoccupied with other concerns. Some might walk through it and purposely scatter the pebbles with their feet. All in all, this formation of small rocks wouldn't cause much of a stir because it is a common experience to see such things on public beaches. We would all assume that some young man arranged the pebbles to express his feelings. Now let's consider a similar arrangement of pebbles in a much different place. Sometime in the not-too-distant future, the United States or some other nation will probably send astronauts to Mars. When these first humans arrive, they will most likely climb out of their landing craft and begin to explore the surrounding landscape. Imagine their reaction if they were to suddenly see this arrangement of pebbles on the Martian surface. Wouldn't they be stunned and amazed? Wouldn't the people in the control room back on Earth be equally dumbfounded? As the word got out, TV broadcasts around the world would be interrupted to inform us of this incredible news. Headlines in newspapers would be screaming that the astronauts had discovered a message on the Martian soil. It would be the biggest story of the year, or even the decade. It would be even bigger than a Taylor Swift concert. Why would there be such a difference of reaction to these two arrangements of pebbles in the sand? In both cases, people assume that an intelligent person created the formation. On Earth, there are billions of people who are capable of arranging the pebbles. But with Mars, it would be thought that these astronauts were the first humans to reach the planet. Commentators would speculate that maybe the Chinese or Russians got there ahead of us, somehow without us knowing. Or could it be that there was a race of alien beings already living on the planet, who by studying our radio and television transmissions, learned our language and wrote the message? As the weeks and months pass and the mystery deepens, someone might begin to wonder if it was possible that this arrangement of pebbles was formed by accident, a product of random chance. After all, the forces of nature are constantly making, shaping, and rearranging rocks and pebbles. Isn't it possible that they might occasionally spell out a message? Let's look at some of the natural forces that make, shape, and move rock. First, as this photo shows, there is plenty of rocky material on the surface of Mars to work with. The same is true of Earth. Water is a powerful force for breaking, moving, and shaping rock. River rock is known for its rounded shape caused by the stream grinding and polishing the stones as it moves them about. The same is true of the ocean as it constantly batters the rocky coastline and slowly wears it away. Water in the form of ice scrapes, cracks, and carries large amounts of rock surprisingly great distances. Wind is a powerful force that can move and shape rock. These beautiful sandstone formations were shaped by wind-driven sand particles. Erosion, earthquakes, and landslides are important movers and shapers of rock. Imagine the tremendous amount of rock that was thrown for miles in all directions by the meteor impact that formed this crater in Arizona. Volcanoes not only throw and scatter rocks, but they also create new rocks as the lava cools and hardens. You can see from these examples that nature has plenty of methods to arrange rocks. It is constantly moving and rearranging them on the surface of Earth and other planets. Is it possible that these rocks could accidentally arrange themselves into words and sentences that conveyed information? If it did happen, it might look something like the following video clip, whether it came together suddenly or took millions of years to form. At first glance, this arrangement of pebbles looks rather crude and simple, but upon closer inspection, it is not simple at all. For this to form accidentally, the following would have to occur. 13 letters from the same English alphabet would have to form. Each letter would be roughly the same size. They would all be oriented in the same direction, with the tops and bottoms on the same sides. The letters would have to be clumped together to form words that have specific meanings, and the words would have to be arranged in a specific order to form a sentence that conveyed information. All of that taking place in a very small area of sand with no one directing or planning it, just random accident caused by the unthinking, unknowing, uncaring forces of nature, doesn't seem possible. Information is a product of intelligent thought. This illustration of pebbles accidentally being arranged into three-word sentences sets the stage for a far more important question. Could a living organism be created by the random chance movement of elements in the universe? I think most people have serious doubts about the likelihood of pebbles randomly spelling out sentences with specific meanings, but the odds of a living organism being constructed by chance would be similar to the odds of the entire text of the novel War and Peace being arranged by chance with pebbles on a beach. It just couldn't happen. Consider for a moment this illustration of a cell. You don't need to be a molecular biologist to recognize that there is great complexity represented in this picture. W.H. Thorpe, an evolutionist scientist, said that the most elementary type of cell constitutes a mechanism unimaginably more complex than any machine yet thought up, let alone constructed by man. Sir Fred Hoyle, a famous English astronomer, compared the accidental formation of a living organism to a tornado sweeping through a junkyard and accidentally constructing a 747 out of the materials therein. Bill Gates has written that DNA is like a computer program, but far, far more advanced than any software ever created. Cells contain power stations to provide the energy used in all the activities of the cell, factories to manufacture all the parts of the cell and all the chemicals used by it, transportation systems and pipelines to move the raw materials and finished parts where they need to go, data banks and control systems to direct all these activities, and much, much more. Someone might say that yes, the cells that exist today are extremely complex, but the first cell must have been simple, making it more likely to be produced by random chance. But is there such a thing as a simple cell? Most scientists acknowledge that there is a limit to how simple a cell can be and still carry out the activities necessary to be a living cell. To illustrate this, let's conduct an exercise in attempting to design a simple cell. I think this will help us appreciate the complexity of what must take place in order for a cell to be successful. One of the most current theories of evolution proposes that the first cell formed in a bubble. So let's begin the construction of our simple cell with a bubble. It has the right shape to be a cell. It has an outer membrane to serve as the cell wall, so I think we are off to a good start. I would be willing to call this bubble a living cell if it can do only one thing: make a copy of itself. After all, a cell must be able to reproduce if it is going to be the ancestor of all living things. Well, it couldn't be too hard to produce another bubble, could it? Look at this man producing bubbles to entertain a little girl. In a matter of seconds, he is producing dozens of bubbles. But while this looks simple to do, we need to realize that these bubbles are being produced by an intelligent human, and a human is the most complex thing that we have ever witnessed in the universe. He is using his lungs to provide the stream of air needed. He is using his hand-eye coordination to line up the wand, all controlled by his advanced brain. And this bubble making is not the result of this one individual alone. The soapy liquid used to make the bubbles was manufactured in a factory somewhere. The ingredients were collected and manufactured in various places. These ingredients were transported by ships, trucks, and trains. The power used to make and transport these materials was produced by complex power stations and refineries. And we could go on and on. These bubbles were produced by the activities of hundreds of the most intelligent creatures on Earth. For our bubble cell to reproduce itself, it has to do all the activities we have just described, all on its own, without any assistance from humans. First of all, a plain bubble couldn't blow another bubble, so it would need a tube or ring of some sort to blow the new bubble. Then it would need a device to pump air through the tube to produce the bubble, a pump or fan of some sort. The pump would require energy to operate, so the cell would need some sort of power station to supply that energy. But look where we are now. Do you see how quickly our simple cell becomes increasingly complex? Now the cell not only has to produce a bubble, but it has to produce a tube, a pump, and a power station. All of these would need a control system to coordinate their activities. All of this equipment is incredibly more difficult to manufacture than the original bubble. And now we have to create more complex machinery to assemble this newly required machinery. Suddenly, our little bubble is getting quite crowded. We know, of course, that a living cell can't be made from a soap bubble, but no matter what you make it out of, these same problems would arise. I challenge you to try to design anything that can replicate itself. You will quickly realize that it is an unimaginably complex problem. Science, which has reached its most advanced level in the history of the world, has been trying without success for the last 75 years to create a living cell. Why have they not succeeded? There are great incentives to motivate individual scientists, universities, and governments to be the first to create a man-made living cell. There would be fame, prestige, accolades, money, Nobel Prizes, yet they have been unsuccessful. Their work has only resulted in a greater appreciation for the awesome wonder and complexity of a living organism. There is no such thing as a simple cell. Imagine how my life would change if I were able to create a living cell from non-living matter. I would immediately be raised from obscurity and seated in the pantheon of the greatest scientists who ever lived. Isaac Newton, the discoverer of the laws of motion and gravitation. Albert Einstein, the discoverer of the theory of relativity. Daniel Henry, the creator of the first man-made living cell and winner of the Nobel Prize for Science. All kidding aside, I think it is within the respectable boundaries of science to put forward as one theory for the appearance of life the possibility of an intelligent designer. Archaeologists do this all the time to explain the existence of things like stone structures, pottery, and arrowheads. They base their belief in the existence of ancient civilizations like the Hittites on the simple artifacts they have dug out of the earth. Those artifacts are vastly more simple than the simplest living cell, but they show evidence of thought and planning by intelligent beings. To me, a living organism shows evidence of thought and planning by an intelligent being, an intelligence that surpasses the combined knowledge and intelligence of all our scientists, universities, and governments. To me personally, this is one piece of evidence that points to the existence of God.